As a business owner, I know that software can be really expensive. But one thing I found that a lot of pastors and church leaders don't know is that software in many cases for nonprofits can be totally free or deeply discounted. Today I'm gonna break down for you 10 softwares and services that churches can get for free or at an incredibly deep discount. Let's do this. Hey guys, I'm Thomas here from REACHRIGHT. We put out new content like this every single week, so if this is the kind of content that you're into, hit that subscribe button, and if you know of any software that your church uses that you're not spending any money on, let us know down in the comments. Now, in my experience, many pastors are totally unaware of the fact that software companies actually give away their software in many cases to nonprofit organizations, and in almost every one of those cases, churches are also eligible. So in this video, I wanted to break down the 10 that I thought were of the most value to churches. 10 softwares that are either deeply discounted or totally free for churches. Now, the list isn't in any kind of particular order, and in fact, I think number 9 is probably the one that'll get most churches the most value. But if there is one that your church is taking advantage of that I don't talk about in this video, I would love to hear about it in the comments, and I'm sure the entire REACHRIGHT community would appreciate that too. But let's dig in. The first one is Microsoft Office. We've been using Microsoft Office for years. I'm sure you have too. Products like Word and Excel. And if you don't know, they actually pivoted not too long ago to a subscription model. Used to be that you would buy it year in and year out and you'd pay maybe about $100 for each one of those. But they actually switched over to a model where you pay a monthly subscription to access the entire suite of services that Microsoft gives. This includes software like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Microsoft Teams, and a whole host of other software. Really, this is their entire work suite. And for a company like mine, it costs $6 per user per month for even their basic program. So even a small church would normally pay a lot of money for this, but for nonprofits, and churches are included, this is totally free. Now, the one exclusion is you can't be one of the largest churches in the country because there's a limit of only 300 seats, but for the vast majority of churches and nonprofits, this is a totally scot-free software that you're probably already paying for anyway. The second one is kind of like the first, but I think it's even more valuable. It's the Google Workspace suite. Now, Google has an entire Google for Nonprofits section on their website. You can check that out, and we have links to all of these down in the description below. But the Google Workspace value is enormous. First and foremost, you get access to their entire Gmail suite, and maybe you're wondering, well, I thought Gmail was free. Well, this is actually the professional version of Gmail, so you can use your own church's email address. So you can be pastor@firstbaptistchurch.com and not have to use a @gmail.com address. So huge value there. You also get access to the entire Google Drive with lots of storage and all of their apps that come with it, as well as Google Meet and a host of other software. You just need to apply for Google for Nonprofits, and this can be yours. The third software is QuickBooks. Now, for a long time, churches have been using QuickBooks, especially their nonprofit-specific software. Back when I first got started in ministry, QuickBooks is what we use to handle all of our accounting, and the fact that they have discounts for nonprofits is a huge value. They pivoted to a fully online monthly subscription model, and it is not cheap. The Online Plus edition, which is what most churches would probably use, is $85 every single month. And get this, for a nonprofit, the price is actually only $75 for a whole year. So that's over 90% off of the normal price that I would pay as a business owner that you don't have to pay when you're pastoring a church. Huge discount. You can actually also get some of the older desktop versions. I think the last one was 2020, and you can buy that for $65 outright as a nonprofit. So enormous discounts there for churches. Now here's number 4, and I think this one is probably one of the most valuable ones for churches. It's the Adobe Creative Cloud. Yes, I'm talking about the full Adobe suite. That includes Photoshop, that includes Illustrator, Premiere Pro, if you do audio still, Audition. That's all of the Adobe software that for an individual usually costs about $55 every single month. And if you're part of a business, they actually charge you even more. We pay $85 a month per person. So that can obviously add up really fast for businesses, but for churches, you can actually get the entire Creative Cloud for only $19.95 a month. They say that that's for 1 year, but I've seen that that's been going on year after year, and I don't see any sign of that changing. but they guarantee they'll give you at least a 40% discount for every following year. So if you're like most churches and you have lots of creative needs, or you want to be editing your sermons with the best software possible, which we believe Premiere still probably is, you definitely want to get on this discount. Number 5 is really a great one. It's Hootsuite. If you're not familiar with it, Hootsuite is a social media posting software similar to something like Buffer, or what we use here at REACHRIGHT, Vista Social. What you can do is you can set up all of your social profiles on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and any other social media platform you can think of. You can set them up on Hootsuite so that you can write one post or write all of your posts within the Hootsuite software, and it'll automatically post that content to your desired social platforms. It really takes your social media management time, and it can probably cut it into about a third. Hootsuite is not cheap. In fact, for one user, you're talking about $100 a month, and it's closer to $250 if you have a team of 3 users at your church there. Now compare that with the nonprofit price. It's only $24.50 for an individual per month, and only $64 for a team of 3 people per month. Now that's a huge discount, and if it were up to me, I probably would go with Hootsuite if I could get it for that price, but because I'm not set up as a 501c3, I'm not eligible, but if you're a church, you most likely are, so you should definitely take advantage of that. Here's number 6, Slack. Now, if you don't know what Slack is, it is a communication tool that you can use mostly for team members and staff members at your church to make sure everybody is in constant contact and manage all of your communications in one place. We use it here at REACHRIGHT, and it's great because we can always go back and search everything that we've ever said to one another, because every single message we've ever sent is saved. We use it every day as our primary communication tool here at REACHRIGHT, and everybody on our team is on it. And we pay a lot of money for that. The normal price for Slack is $7.25 per user per month, at least for the level that we're on and the one that most nonprofits will want to use. For churches, that same pro plan that I'm paying all that money for costs nothing. Absolutely free. They give it to you. So long as you have under 250 seats in Slack, it'll cost you nothing. Now, number 7 is Zoom. Now, we all use Zoom. And in fact, Zoom, I have kind of a love-hate relationship with. Whenever I think of Zoom, it reminds me of the pandemic and all of those times that I spent on Zoom calls that frankly, I'm really not cut out for and don't really like them very much. Maybe you have better feelings about Zoom, but the fact remains, it is the best video conferencing software out there. And if that's something that your church does, you probably are using Zoom because that's what everybody seems to use. And if you're a church, you can use it at a deep discount. Here at REACHRIGHT, we use it for all of our sales and all of our support staff, and we pay $15.99 for every single user in our company for Zoom. So we're actually paying Zoom over $100 every single month just to handle this video conferencing within our company here. For churches, you actually get a 50% discount. So that $15.99 actually turns into about $8 every single month. If this is something your church will use, it's a really good value and you should definitely look into it. Number 8 is Constant Contact. Now, if you're not familiar with it, Constant Contact is a broadcast email service similar to a MailChimp and other softwares like it. It's a tool that you would use to send out your weekly or regular emails within your church, as well as to build sequences that you would send out to new people when they're taking new steps at your church. Someone comes for the first time, you'd use Constant Contact to send out a series of emails over a period of time that would help someone take that next step within your church. It's really a great piece of software. They actually have nonprofit pricing that is a really great value. So let's say you have 1,000 people on your list. With Constant Contact, the normal pricing would be about $30 a month for that kind of a package. Well, for nonprofits, you get that cut in half. It's only $15 a month, and that's as long as you're a client of Constant Contact. So really a great value for churches. It's something you should probably look into if you don't have another mail service that you absolutely love. Now, let me say this, we've done a whole bunch of episodes about how to do email for churches right. If you're just using your Gmail account to do it, that's doing it wrong. Now, number 9, I told you this is the one that I thought was the best value for churches, and it's not technically a piece of software, and it's actually tied to another one, but it is the Google Grant. We already mentioned Google Workspace, and part of Google for Nonprofits is also this Google Grant. And what is the Google Grant? Well, it is $10,000 every single month in free ads on the Google search network. Whenever you go into Google and you do a search, usually the first thing you will see is a few different ads. So when people are looking for churches in my area, well, your church can come up there and you can direct them to your website and they can learn more about your services. If you do marriage counseling at your church, you can do ads for marriage counseling. If you do a vacation Bible school and have lots of children's programming, you can do ads that'll target moms looking for things to do with their kids. Now, is the Google grant for everybody? Well, maybe not. Now, almost every church is eligible as long as you have a 501c3, but I will say it can be a little bit hard to manage. And for most churches, if you don't really know what you're doing, spending all $10,000 can be a real challenge. That's why here at REACHRIGHT, we're actually the leading provider for churches in helping them manage this Google grant. We'll have a link below if you're looking for some help in managing the Google grant, but you have no excuse to not get this. It is $10,000 a month in free ads. You just have to get out there and take it. Now, lastly, and this might not be for every church, but as a nonprofit, you get a big discount on Asana. Well, what is Asana? It's actually a project management software that we have used here at REACHRIGHT. It's a great way to manage all of those things that are bigger than maybe your week-to-week items, but bigger term projects. And for churches, this is really a great tool for things like sermon series planning, event planning. Just because there's so many steps and often so many people involved, you want to have a record of who's doing what and when are those things due by. And Asana is a great tool for that. For organizations like mine, we pay about $13.50 every single month for every user within our organization. For churches, you actually get a flat 50% off, and that's really a great value. You can save a ton of money doing that. Now, there's one exclusion I do want to mention, but I don't think it's going to be an issue for you. Religious organizations that exist to solely propagate a belief in a specific faith or do not provide services to people outside of a specific faith are not eligible for the discount. Now, for churches, let's be honest, if we're doing our things and will only serve people that are within our faith, we're probably not doing what Jesus called us to do. So I think it's pretty clear that we should be eligible for this, but maybe you've run into issues applying with Asana and they've rejected you for some reason. I'd love to hear about that. Let me know down in the comments. Now, like I said before, we've left links down in the description below to all of these discounts so you can learn more. But one of the common denominators is that in most cases, you're gonna have to go through TechSoup in order to apply and receive each one of these discounts here. What is TechSoup? Well, it's a company that just verifies your nonprofit status. We've done a lot of partnership with TechSoup here at REACHRIGHT. It's a great company. We've been helping churches get approved with TechSoup for years, especially for the Google grant process. It's usually pretty painless, but they actually get you approved for each one of these discounts and prove to the company that you are who you say you are and that you're a legitimate nonprofit. You should be able to handle those things easily. But here's what I want to know. Does your church have a software that you use or some other service that you get a big discount for being a nonprofit? I'd love to hear about what it is. Let everybody else know, and maybe we can get the word out there and save some other churches some money just like you've been saving. Let us know down in the comments. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time.